Hey there, welcome to Watch Soup, coming at you every night, every Sunday night at 9 p.m. We were off last week. I had a Mother's Day stream with Mrs. Legg. Some of you guys may have caught that or not, but we're back, regularly scheduled programming. I am joined by my co-host Sanjay from the Engineer Wannabe channel. Sanjay, how are you? And what's new? I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. And what do you have on wrist? I know that's a lot of questions, but
No, that's great. Not much is new, and I've seen you in the Super Best Watch Friends. So
that's true. We have seen each other. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, not too much. Just had a nice day today. Took down a shelter, so it was productive day.
Oh,
We had a shelter where the tent blew over during this past winter. It was yeah, and it was just an eyesore, just the frame kind of hanging out there. So
in your backyard or
yeah,
uh,
yeah. So I took it down today, and I'm
nice.
super proud of myself.
Yeah, yeah,
But other than that, didn't do much. Rested today. On
yeah.
my wrist is the Railmaster.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Okay, yeah, nothing too crazy, just a lot of stuff with the kids, and
Yeah.
we dropped them off at the in-laws tonight, so we have a couple nights off, which doesn't really mean much. I mean, I got to work tomorrow, and then we still have a lot of stuff on the property that we got to do, and it's just easier when the kids are not around. So,
Right.
um, with working with chainsaws and saws and whatever, you just don't want a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old around because they're just very curious, So,
Yeah.
um, speaking of curious, I got my Zin
Nice.
903. I was wearing this all day today.
Nice.
Just with this nice brown strap here, and
Yeah,
goes
that looks
really well with a t-shirt and jeans.
yeah.
That's how I was rolling today. Um,
I had
before we
three
get,
watches on today.
you had
I
three
had
watches on today? Yeah,
yeah, for church I had my SBGV, so the two-tone Grand Seiko.
yeah,
For
sure.
taking down the shelter, I had my G-Shock.
Yeah, of
And now
course.
as my evening watch, I have my Rollmaster. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this was the second watch today. This morning I had the G-Shock. It was just easier to grab this morning. It was by my nightstand. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I definitely switch out at least a couple times,
Yeah.
a
That's
day.
that's how we know we're crazy, right?
Right, right. Let's say hello to some of the guys in the chat. And guys in the chat, please let us know what you're wearing today on wrist. Blue shirt, Buddha. Hey, Bruce, how are you? Wasn't able to catch live the Watch Talk with the Punters today with Bill Sanders, but I will watch it either this evening or tomorrow. Definitely like Bill a lot, like his collection. So, hey, Chris from the Watch Lounge, how are you? Justin, is this thing on? Yes, it is on. Peter, hello, sir. Dan, thanks for joining us. Paul's here. Howdy, AZ Clayton. What's up? Wilson with a nice pickup recently.
Yeah. Wow.
Very, very nice.
Good stuff.
There's Clive. How you doing, Clive? Clive, next week. Next week you're on the schedule if you want. I'll reach out to you. Let's see here. We're going to see it. There's Wilson again. Brent, how are you, buddy? B Dev, what's up? Riss Ross, my man, how are you? Hey, Scott, what's going on, buddy? I just zoomed down here by accident. Joe's here. Philly, White Glove Watches is here. Oil Money.
Hey.
All right.
Funny story with that actually. One morning, so there used to be an abandoned house next to our house, like
Right.
a good distance away. But there was one morning I let the dogs out, and usually, to get them out and going, I say, "Go get them," right? And there was this homeless guy peeing on a tree in our backyard, and he freaked out because I thought I set the dogs on him. And I was like, "Oh no, it's okay. he's friendly." But yeah,
Who let the dogs out?
turns out there
It
was
was Sanjay.
there were a few people living in a shed in the
Mm.
neighboring property, and yeah, so that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to have dogs, I guess, no matter what size they are or how friendly they are. Arithicus, how are you? Caliber, what's going on? Roar the Tigers here. MTB Mike. Wow, I got a good crowd here tonight. Hey, Rasan, what's up, man? Kevin's here. Ken's checking in from Pittsburgh. Um, and yeah, yeah. Watches with Murky JG. You guys, man. You guys. Megan's here. Hey, Megan. Working in Hong Kong today at our factory, so listening with earbuds only won't be in the chat. Okay, well, Megan, really appreciate you listening in. I know you're working there. And then, okay, hey, Junior Johnson, how are you? Clive at Engineer Wannabe. Let me know if you ever find a woman in your outside doghouse. True story. Okay, okay. I think dog's got dog. Rachel's got a story there that we may or may not want to hear. Say it phonetically. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, so let's jump into it. The first segment, of course, is the reviews tonight. No comments from the last video, but we have reviews. Sanjay has picked up a couple. Sanjay, the floor is yours.
Yeah, yeah. So just two reviews this week. There were a couple of others, but they were kind of repeats. Watchfinder did the Tudor Black Bay Chrono. I didn't actually catch it, but because
I did. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple of others, but I wanted to mention Time to Go Travel and Timepieces. He did a great review on the Oris Roberto Clemente. That was a watch I actually owned for a while, and he really digs into like the history and the history of Roberto Clemente. You know what happened to him, and it was actually a really in-depth review. And I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from that video. So I recommend that review. It was a great one. And the other one was from Hot Ones or Hot Ones or Oat Ones.
Yeah.
He did a review on the 3861 Omega Speedmaster, so the new one. And you know, he did it really. He did justice. He actually purchased it himself. He kind of showcased all the differences between the old and the new, and you know, he described why he chose that one over the previous gen. And yeah, it was funny that Tim Mosso actually did a review on the 3861 as well, and I was kind of listening closely. I don't know if you remember, because he kind of ragged on it. In a Watches Tonight, and I was kind of you know, had my ear to the ground to see what he would say about it. But you know, he did a good sales pitch. He didn't really, you know, go positive or negative. It was still a very valuable video because he goes through everything. But yeah, those are kind of what I got into this week.
So question. So you had the Clemente in your collection, and then I presume you got rid of it. Why didn't it stay longer? I mean, I know you're a Grand Seiko guy, but I mean, you're also an Oris guy. What about it? I mean, it looks like a pretty cool watch, right? What was it about that just didn't stick for you?
Well, there was. I'm kind of a little known for what happened between me and Oris with the Caliber 400. So after that, there was some drama that happened between me and the AD I was working with to do reviews, and there was a massive kind of implosion of the worlds, basically. And I stepped down from doing reviews with that AD, and I kind of hastily boycotted Oris. And basically, in the boycott, the collateral damage was that Roberto Clemente. But I loved that watch. I really loved that watch, and I'm kind of sad that I let go of it. The chances are kind of slim that I buy it back now that I have, you know, sold it. But yeah, that's kind of why it blew up. It went away.
I really want to like. I mean, I really want to like that watch. I do like it. So I'm part Puerto Rican, and Roberto Clemente was Puerto Rican, and he's like an icon still to this day down in Puerto Rico, and so love to support his foundation because I think some of the proceeds of that watch goes to some sort of foundation that maybe his son runs or whatnot.
Mhm.
But he's such a big deal on that island. I remember there's a park by where I grew up. I lived there for a couple of years, and they actually had the plane that crash that he died in. They had they reconstructed it, and it's like a little monument in the park. So he's a pretty big deal, and I've always, I saw that watch and I liked the idea. I was trying to figure out what the connection was, and then you do find out what the connection is if you actually go on the site. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just an Oris thing that doesn't necessarily grab at me at the moment, or if it was just that particular model that 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 really didn't grab at me. But I want to like it. I really do. But anyway,
It
that's just
kind
my
of has
take.
like Grand Seiko vibes to it because of the cream dial. It's kind of really
Hmm.
dressy for a pointer date. Usually, a pointer date's kind of sporty, but it has that dressy feel to it. So I kind of clicked with it because it has that cream dial, white dial thing, which I really enjoy.
Yeah,
Mm. So that's what kind of drew me to it. But
yeah.
I
Joe,
get you.
Joe has this watch. He's a big baseball fan, and he loves it. And so that's awesome. Let's see here. Anything? Oh, thanks, Chris. Thanks for the sticker. Appreciate it, man. Really do. Thanks, man. Um, Oil Money, the nicest Canadian watch content creator on YouTube, causing an international incident. I love it. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
call myself the nicest.
You're pretty nice. You're pretty nice. B-Dev, I remember seeing Roberto Clemente play against the Mets in the late 60s.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if I remember things correctly, he when he died, he was still playing. I mean, he hadn't retired. He just had his or that in that season got his 3,000th hit. I think he ended the season with his 3,000 hit. I don't know if he was injured or whatnot, but he got his 3,000 hit, which is a big deal in baseball.
Yeah.
Sanjay. So I didn't know if you knew that, but yeah, well, it was. I mean, it's still kind of a big deal in baseball now. But yeah, amazing player, great fielder,
Hmm.
had all the skills with him. Um, let's see here. Kevin S is saying, I think the white dial for a pointer date may be throwing some off with the Clemente Oris. I don't know if that's it. I mean, how did you feel about that, Sanjay? Did the white dial throw it off for you? I mean, or you just love to watch?
Yeah, no, well, that
Yeah,
that was kind of what drew me to it, actually. The
yeah,
white dial, yeah, because it gave me that, it fit in my collection really well, which is a very white dial heavy. So
yeah. That's right. Oris is an independent. I mean, they're not owned by anybody, right? They're pretty much an independent, right? So
yeah, really.
um, good for them. I still need to spend some time with Oris because I want to like Oris. I
Yeah.
really do. I really do. I just and maybe I'll get there one day, but it just hasn't clicked. All right. So are we ready to jump into topics, Sanjay? Let's get into it. Uh, in the beginning of the week, we saw your typical WatchBox Studios with Tim Masso, and he had an interesting discussion on the Tudor Black Bay 58 versus the Oris divers, and what are the best sub 5,000 luxury divers for 2021. Let's be specific. He meant for this year, and
Right.
so he went. I was a little surprised. He started off. He picked the Tudor Black Bay, the Black Bay 58, the 925, the silver. He seemed to really like this watch.
Hmm.
Save for the exhibition case back, he said that that wasn't really needed, but he liked all the technical details of it. He liked the fact that it was it's only like $600 more than the regular Black Bay 58 in steel, and instead of going, if you're going, and he was saying if you're thinking steel or if you're thinking gold, just go with the silver, and so that was interesting to me, and that was a surprise pick. He also brought up in comparison with the Oris, um, was it? It is a 65, right? The Diver
That was
65, but the Carl Bouchier
Yep.
version, the third, is like a third generation version of the Carl Bouchier, which was, if I recall, a bronze. It's a bronze watch, right?
Yeah.
And you know, more depth rating into that one. I believe that also, does that have an in-house movement in there?
Yes, it does. The caliber
Yeah,
401. Yeah.
401. And but it's I think, what was the price up point? Do you recall? Is it less than the Black Bay? I think
It's
it's less than the Black Bay 58, right?
it's about the same, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's more than the regular Black Bay 58. It's
Okay.
about the same, if I'm not mistaken, to the
It's at a 925.
yeah.
Yeah. And then with a surprise um, third pick, he went with a Bell and Ross, the military. Let me see, the BNR military BR 03-92 diver military, the green man. And look, I was surprised. I mean, that watch is listed for $4,500. I don't know if you pay $4,500 for that. But and he was making some comments about how, a couple years ago you could probably get away with putting a base Salida in a dive watch at this level, but you can't now because of the Black Bay 58, right? With the manufacturer movement and the 70-hour power reserve and the Oris in-house movement. But the ceramic case and everything else that comes with it, man, I never. Bell and Ross really hasn't been on my radar for a while, but now seeing that watch and talking about it a little bit on Friday night with the guys at the live stream, I don't know, man. That's a good looking watch. I'm almost tempted about that. What did you think about Tim's picks in this category, Sanjay?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there was a whole lot to choose from. He could have maybe added a Seiko, but um, maybe the Marine Master 300 green dial that came out this year. But I don't really. I mean, I wasn't too thrilled about any of these watches. Um, I do really like the Tudor Black Bay 58 925. I still haven't seen it in person.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm concerned is that it is, it's about half a mil thicker, which doesn't
Yeah,
sound like much. But when you have that sheer case side, I have a feeling that's gonna have an effect on the wearability of the watch, especially since I have a small wrist. So I mean, the 925 is it's probably the most exciting watch that I saw there.
yeah,
Bronze, as long as if it's not aluminium bronze or aluminum bronze, I really can't get excited about the patination. So I mean, I love the Diver 65, and I have considered this watch a few times,
mm-hmm.
but I don't think it can, at least not yet. For the mainstream audience, I don't think it can butt heads with the Tudor. I personally would love to own this kind of watch at that kind of price level, which I did. I did purchase the caliber 400 Oris Aquas, but um, I don't know. I don't know if the mainstream audience would be willing to consider it when Tudor is presented. You know, but who knows? That might change.
Yeah,
And Bell and Ross, I just can't get excited about the instrument cluster look.
yeah,
The square and the round. It looks like some kind of gauge, and I just can't I just can't
yeah,
get excited about that. But I can see how it can be very interesting. A full ceramic case is really compelling. But if I were to go that way, I'd go Rado, right? And
mm-hmm.
Rado's released an interesting all ceramic diver this year too. And I would have picked Rado over the Bell and Ross. A bit more a bit more classical look, but it has
Yeah,
that ceramic case. It still has a Powermatic 80, but a lot of value in that package versus Bell and Ross. Not the greatest value, I don't think.
yeah. I mean, at 4,500, it's I don't see the value there either. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, if you can get that watch for, I mean, I hate to say, I mean, like 50%. I mean, like in the mid to high twos, I think then there's something there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to like that instrument look. I mean, the signature Bell and Ross look with the square, and they've done it with the dive watch now. They typically, they do a lot of flight watches, pilot watches.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of dig it. I like it on that on the rubber strap. It comes with a rubber and some sort of like cloth type strap. And I don't know. I just dig that color. I'm a big fan of that army green look, and juxtaposed with the ceramic case. Oh man, I think it looks pretty sharp. Like I said, for that price point, new, no way. I'll wait to see if how in about 6 months to a year how it looks like on Watch Recon if any of those come up, and see what prices they go for, because if it's under 2.5 or two, then that's something I think I would consider, just because it's so different than what I have in my collection, and I just love that color. We'll see.
Mhm.
Wilson, yeah, Bellamici and Rosilio. Chaz, hey Chaz, he's traveling, but he wanted to check in. Hope everyone is having a great Sunday. Thanks, Chaz. We're doing good here. Nefarian, the Mito. Yeah, he brought that up. He brought the Mito up, and
He
for
did.
the value, 1,700 for what you get with the Mito, Mito. It's a lot. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about Mito watches for a good minute now, and I got to go and check them out and see what they're about. I really haven't done a deep dive on Mito. But I hear there's a lot of great value there.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Mito?
Yeah. Yeah. There are actually a couple of ADs here with carrying Mito, so I've got a good impression of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty high on the bang per buck. I equate them to maybe Certina, uh,
Okay.
at least in this area. They are underappreciated for sure.
Nefarian says, I've always wanted to be in R from seeing them in the back of a car and driver when I was a kid, but I don't know much about them. Yeah, I know for a while Zinn was making some of their watches, so
Okay.
there is a lot of similarities, especially with some of their flight watches with the numbers, Arabic numbers, the 12, 6, and 12, 3, 6, and 9, and the use of the hands with the broadsword hands. Very, very similar look.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of, yeah, there's a connection there. But I really don't know. AJ, he did mention the diver from the year before. The model is escaping me. But
Hydrocarbon,
yeah, yes, yes, yeah.
some hydrocarbon
Right.
monstrosity.
Right. Yeah. But I mean that watch had some great tech too. I mean,
Yeah,
80,000. It's got one Gauss, protection. So and amongst other things. Um, I don't know. Ball is another brand that I don't know how I feel about. You
I
know.
like a lot of their other watches. I thought
Hmm.
that hydrocarbon was a little,
It's a little
uh,
much, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah. I this I like the connection with the railroad, the history there. I like that. I like their use of tritium.
Yeah,
Um, I think that's pretty cool. Um, I just, I don't know. I know we're not supposed to talk about, return rate of return or whatever with watches. I just feel like they just take a huge nosedive after you buy them price wise. Um, and I guess that makes a case that if you really like them, you just buy them in the secondary market used.
yeah.
Um, Kevin's, I'd like to get a Bell and Ross Square Diver used. Deals can certainly, yeah, absolutely. I think that's just the way you go with Bell and Ross. I mean, I've never walked into an AD and asked, for a discount or what kind of discounts they're given. Um,
Yeah. There's 180 that has Bell and Ross in my area,
yeah,
and they don't play ball when you ask for discounts. So
really?
yeah, it's just
Okay,
the AD.
okay, okay,
They just don't
gotcha.
even want to hear.
They don't even want to
Any
negotiate.
yeah, yeah,
Rasan saying I gave up on Tudor no matter what they do, never buying one. Okay, strong feelings about Tudor.
Wow.
Um, the rancher, that piece that struck me the wrong way. It's like, hey, we priced everything else out of you wage peons, but now you can still blow your tax refund check over these lesser pieces. All right. Yeah, Tim didn't focus on the Pelagos, but I think he was trying to. I think the point was like Joe. I think he was trying to focus on the new releases for 2021, right? And so I don't know where he drew the line of what he was going to talk about or not, because obviously anything sub 5,000, you have to include a Pelagos in the discussion, for sure. OGB BB58 for the win. I'm with you, Penny. I have one. We both have one. BNR is way too big for Sanjay.
Yeah. I actually like their BR05. I know it's not a popular piece, but I also like the Tudor Royal. So
yeah. I mean, it's not for me, but I mean, like it's for, but it's the Tudor Royal. I mean, if you like it, I mean,
yeah.
I liked what they were going. I liked. I feel like they didn't stick the landing with the Tudor Royal. I'll be honest. I liked the fact.
Yeah.
I liked where they were going. I just didn't. There was something about it that it left me. This is. You almost had it. You almost had me at hello, but you just didn't.
Maybe it was the bezel. I think that was a bit contentious, right?
It could be, but I don't know if that was it. But it probably was. It probably. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about it that I wish I wanted to like that watch. Trust me, I wanted to like that watch.
Yeah.
Penny, I did sell the BB58, but the problem was me, not the watch. Yeah, that's like the old "it's not you, it's me" excuse. Is that what?
Well, I remember hearing her talk about it in the Punters show. It was taking up time against her Submariner, so she had to sell the one that was lesser, I suppose.
Yeah,
theoretically lesser.
Yeah. I mean, I can get down with that. Okay, so good discussion. Let's try the next topic, and this is a video you selected here. The David Khalil watch dealer steals 10 Rolex watches. Do not sell on consignment. Sanjay, it's all yours.
All right. Yeah. So just to run through the video real quick, this was David Khalil, kind of a vlog style video. He talks about more than just this. The title is actually a really small part of the actual video. He talks about consignment and the risks of actually putting your watches on consignment. And I think it was a valuable video, but there's obviously a little bit of conflict of interest, and he does kind of state where his conflicts of interest are, like the fact that he never sells on consignment and a couple of other things. But he goes on to say there's some benefit to selling on consignment. You get a better price for your watch, but there is so much more risk involved than when you do this. Basically, the risk is that your watch could be stolen, and if your watch is stolen, chances are you might be out that watch. The seller might say you're covered under insurance, under their insurance, but insurances generally tend not to pay out, and so you're going to be out of luck. He also talked about unethical people who steal the watches, and it might be their last ditch attempt before they fly away, kind of.
Right.
So they might just go around, sell your watch, and get out of town, and you'll be out your watch. You won't get your money, and a couple of other things like that. And I found that really interesting. I found it really the light being shone on the risks, because I've considered selling on consignment. I actually almost sold on consignment a couple of times, and I've never actually considered these things. I think the the risks are there, and um, they're not. He wasn't saying that these are very risky. It's just the fact that these things can happen, and you're open to these attacks. But if you really think about it, chances of these things happening are really slim. Um, if a place gets broken into, the fact that your watch might get stolen out of all the watches there. I mean, if the place even gets broken
Hmm.
into, all these things are so slim. But I guess he also talked about how a person might get hit by a car and be gone the next day, and you won't know where your watch is.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to get it back? Now, I think that would be if you're working with a one-man show, right? If you're working with a company, then that's not going to be of any concern to anyone. Um, I mean, losing a person is a huge concern. That's not what I mean. But yeah, so I mean, it was a really thought provoking video, and I know Peter sent you an email
Hmm.
about it as well. I'll let you bring that up if you were planning to, but I thought it was a great video, and I thought it was very thought provoking. It wouldn't deter me from selling on consignment, but it was definitely valuable to think about these things, which I had thought about before.
Yeah.
What did you think about the video?
Well, yeah, I mean, I definitely, took into consideration, who was making the video. I
Right.
like David Khalil. I like his stuff. But he has an angle. Well, not an angle. He has a take on this very specific subject, and it's from his years of experience, in selling watches, and I appreciate that. I think it's like anything else. Like you bet on the jockey, not the horse. So, or when you're buying a watch online, you buy the seller, right? So, you have to know who you're getting involved with, and there are, you know, trustworthy people out there who do this. There are also very, shady people who do this, who are looking to get one over on you.
Mm.
So I've never sold anything personally on consignment. I think my wife, she has sold kids clothes, that the clothes that the kids don't wear anymore, that I've grown, and we've done through that consignment, but that's fairly innocuous. I mean, that's not gonna, we're looking at 10-20 bucks here and there.
Yeah.
If it never sold, we probably would have never cared. And
Mm.
if it never did sell, I think the contract said with the consignment store that it would, after like a year or 6 months or a year, it would get donated to whoever, clothing drive. So it, again, it depends on like what you're selling and who's doing the consignment work for you. I have a friend who's in the coin business. He's a coin collector, personally, but he also runs a place, a company that sells coins, and they do a lot of stuff on consignment. Now they have a reputation. They even have a cable channel. They do stuff on TV. So they're not going to go anywhere, right? And
Right.
so there's a trust level there because you see them on TV. There's trust level with me and him. If I had coins and I needed to sell to consignment, I would sell with him because I personally know him. So I think you need to, or this, anybody who sells something at consignment needs to have not just a casual relationship. I mean, you may want to know somebody a little bit better, before you do that, because there are risks, especially if you're talking about high-end luxury watches.
Yeah.
And I did receive an email from somebody who had a positive experience with that. So I'm not going to just go into the details, but um, there is a lot of people have had a lot of success, selling consignment and never had an issue. Um, the video was a little bit of a tease, right? I mean, I think at some point, it flashed up that he's going to say, "Oh, I'm going to tell you who this person is who stole these 10 watches." And at the end of the video, he says, "Oh, stay at the last 10 seconds, and I'll tell you whatever." I believe I saw that flash up, and then
Yeah.
he never did, which I didn't care anyway. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and and so the whole thing with the dealer selling 10 watches was a very little part of the video. It was a
Yeah.
little bit of clickbaity, I think. But it's, look, I wasn't really fully aware of all the possible things that could go wrong either.
Right.
So in a sense, it was thought provoking, and a good video. Um,
Hmm.
let's go back to the chat, see what they're talking about. Bruce is saying that in regards to Tudor Royale, what killed it for him was the bezel. Um, Chris is saying selling on consignment is just like selling on Fleabay. You got to do your research. Yeah, and I think that's what he was saying too. You
Yeah.
know, so um, on the topic, would anyone here sell their watch on consignment with the timepiece gentleman? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. So you're the couple times that you've almost sold via consignment. You brought that up.
Yeah.
What stopped you um,
I
from doing that?
really don't. I really don't like the idea.
Yeah.
uh, I really don't like the idea of giving my watch. And he mentioned that. And this was before I had seen the video. This was like a year ago. Um, I don't like the idea of giving my watch to someone, just giving it to them. I mean, I don't mind lending my watches, but
Hmm.
just giving it to someone and expecting them to sell it, it just seems high risk to me. I hadn't really thought about that, but
Hmm.
it was just like instinct. I just didn't want to do it. I got
Yeah.
pretty close and I talked about it, but then I pulled back. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you end up doing? You selling yourself or trading it in or?
yeah. I just traded in.
Yeah. It's almost like I know you could probably selling person to person. You could probably get more from a sale, but it is a little bit stressful,
Yeah,
um, and some work. It's easier when you have a community of other enthusiasts,
mhm.
that you can put it out there and see if anybody wants to buy, um, and that's also very helpful. Fortunately, I'm in a couple of communities where I can do that, and never really had too much of a problem selling a watch that I wanted to sell,
Yeah,
um, that way, and I felt safe. You know.
yeah,
So I don't think consignment will be down in my future, but you never say never.
yeah.
The rancher says, Bobby Legs, you can't buy the seller 13th Amendment, dude. Okay, Clive, you're right. I technically can't buy a person. Watch yourself. The day I give a watch worth thousands of dollars to someone with nothing in return, right then and there, it will be a cold day in hell. All
Yep.
right, man.
So
All
it's not.
right. Yeah. Joe will never do business with timepiece, gentlemen. Um, hey guys, just to be sure, David K didn't steal the watches. David K will watch steals. That'd be funny. Hey, Pale Horse, how are you? All right, I just got to preview Oil Money's comments before I put them. My takeaway from the video was that if you can't afford to lose the full retail grade market value of your watch, take the safest bet. Okay, true. Yeah. Um, Scott's never heard of the timepiece, gentlemen. Fair enough. The pontiff is peeved at the timepiece. That was a whole other thing that week that we missed, Sanjay. That
Yeah.
timepiece gentleman had that stream with all those guys. Did you catch it? I didn't. I only
No,
could catch like 10 minutes of it. But
no,
do you know what I'm talking about?
no, I don't actually. I mean, I saw the stream pop up. I just after a couple of Timepiece Gentleman episodes, I just can't do it.
Yeah,
So I've
it,
been
it,
kind of
it's it's
ignoring it.
it's long, but he had a stream and he had Roman Sharf, a
Yeah,
couple of other guys, and then he got Archie in there, and it was just it's one of those things where like you have a Zoom meeting with five different people and everybody's talking at the same time, and it's just like the screen pops up to whoever is talking, and it was just too much for me. It was like an hour and a half video. I couldn't even hang in there 10 minutes.
yeah.
Um, but it was a little much.
Okay.
Anyway, but it was apparently there was some good stuff there. Okay, so let's move on to our third topic video. Teddy Baldassarre watch brands that prove you are deeply into watches. And although the video was okay, I like the topic. I am in the minority, and just like you, Sanjay, for the rest of the population, that we actually look at other people's watches and care what they're wearing while in public, right? And so And so I can relate to this, and unfortunately, I just in the last year or so I haven't really done much, gone to public settings, but when I do, I don't really. All I see is like digital watches, which is cool, but there's nothing like or Seikos, but nothing that will make me think, huh, this person is a watch geek like me, and so Teddy ran through a couple, and I'll just list some of the watches that he mentioned that says that proves that you're deeply into watches, and then we can discuss.
Mhm.
He started off with like an Orient and Volstock, but then he went into Zin, Doxa, Seiko, um, Nomos, Marathon, Oris, Glazut Original, Grand Seiko, and VC. And a couple of watches, yes, definitely, I agree. Seiko, I don't know. Um, I think a lot of people know Seiko, and I think your casual uh, your average citizen, right? Um, who only has one watch will either have like a Seiko or a G-Shock. I feel, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that is necessarily a tip-off that this person is deeply into watches. But that was my take about Seiko specifically, and I have other takes, but I want to hear what you have to say about the list.
Yeah. I was thinking, he had a few caveats at the beginning. He said, he didn't want to go into micro brands, and so
Hmm.
he was trying to pick mainstream brands, and that made it really tough. And I think he kind of dug a hole there because uh, at the end of it, I was thinking, well, what else could he have picked? It was kind of like all the brands, right?
Yeah,
Except maybe except Rolex, Omega.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, I mean AP, but yeah. So when it comes to Seiko, I had a friend of mine on my live stream yesterday, Chris. He knew nothing about watches, but he knew Seiko,
yeah.
and he mentioned Seiko as one of the watches he knows, and Rolex. So Seiko and Rolex, those are two brands, the two only brands that he knew,
Right.
and everyone knows Seiko. And
Yeah,
I know Teddy mentioned if you see a different Seiko, like
yeah. He
he
did.
kept showing the Captain Willard, right?
Hmm.
And if you see someone wearing a Captain Willard, chances are he is a watch enthusiast. So I get where Teddy's coming from. Um, but I mean, if I saw someone wearing Seiko, I wouldn't necessarily go up to them and say, "Hey, man,
Right.
well, what watch are you wearing there?" And if
Yeah.
I now he did get it right with like Glasuda or Organal. If I
Yeah.
saw someone wearing a Glasuda, I mentioned to someone on Instagram, if I saw someone wearing a Panamatic Lunar, I'd walk up to them and cry. I'd
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Panamatic Lunar, that's great," and he
Yeah.
definitely got it right there. With VC, I think he got it right. He
Yep.
insinuated VC was too mainstream, but I think I disagree. I think
I
VC is
totally disagree.
way enthusiast only,
Yeah.
rather than it being a mainstream or a layman's watch.
Right.
Um,
But because of the affordability factor, right? I mean, if it's
right.
a layman is not going to buy a Vacheron Constantine. First
No.
of all, they never probably heard of it, but they're not going to spend that kind of money, right? I mean, at least that's my thoughts. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, and if a layman had that kind of money, and wanted to spend that kind of money, they would get something that other people would recognize, like an
Right.
AP or a Rolex.
Rolex, if they could get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I agree.
but if
Uh,
he goes BC, chances are he's an enthusiast.
he mentioned a couple of German watches. I think whatever German watch you can put on this list because most of us, I mean, German watches here in the States are your average layman don't know any of them. You know what I mean? So because you, like you mentioned, Nomos and Zinn, but you could have thrown in any other German watch in there,
Yeah,
and chances are that person, if that person's wearing any of the German watches, you would say that person is possibly an enthusiast, most likely an enthusiast.
yeah,
Um, Doxa, of course, either you're a hardcore diver, right,
yeah,
or you're an enthusiast.
yeah, for sure.
There's so many brands. Let's be honest. There's so many brands that you can put up there. And I know a couple people in the chat are like, "Oh, most of these are brands that Teddy sells." But let's just pretend that he doesn't have any other agenda. Out of the kindness of his heart, he just really, with the spirit of this video, just wanted to talk about watches that prove that you're deeply into watches, brands. Anyway,
Yeah.
Marathon, of course. I mean, unless you're in the military, right,
Yeah.
or into military history, um, Marathon is definitely a watch that an enthusiast would have.
Yeah.
Um,
There's no way you're gonna run into a marathon in the middle of nowhere and think, oh, that's a cool watch, I'm gonna buy it. You have to actually seek it out and go get it.
you said ran into a marathon. You said it. And you, uh,
Unintended.
uh, yeah, I mean, AJ, I mean, with everyone wearing Apple Watches and the like, it's surprising if I see anyone wearing an analog, especially if it isn't a Daniel Walting or MVMT. Yeah, good point. Good point on the Apple Watches. I have to say, now that I'm thinking about it, most people that I see who wear something on their wrist, it's an Apple Watch.
Yep. Or a fitness tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Blue shirt saying Doxa Nation. Bruce is very big Doxa fan.
Yeah.
Kevin Marathon is an enthusiast brand, definitely. Joe liking the Doxa. I love Doxa. I got to get one in my collection one of these days.
Yeah, me too.
Try it out for a while. BDev, it's easier to ask which brands do not prove.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I mean, maybe Sanjay, we should do a collaboration video,
Yeah.
between the two of us,
Yeah.
and where you can, you can start off. Okay, this is a brand that proves that you're not an enthusiast, and you like throw it over to Bobby Legs, and then I'll be like, okay, Sanjay, thanks, man, and I don't know. That's pretty bad. Okay, moving on. All right, let's say we got the final topic. This one, the Hodinkee 10 questions with Tom Brady. Oh boy. This is another one I saw early in the week. I knew that Tom is a big IWC fan, and it was with Hodinkee, so I was like, you know what? Let me just check it out and see. And I think one of the things that I found more interesting was that he was a Jay-Z fan, or is a Jay-Z fan, and I don't know. When I look at Tom Brady, I don't know. I think he's more. I feel like he's more of a. I don't know. It just surprised me that he's a Jay-Z fan. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe he was looked more of a like a country guy. I don't know.
I
don't know.
can see that actually. I can see
Yeah.
that.
Anyway, so he's got some neat IWC watches. I'd like to know whether he has anything else in IWC, because it seems like all he has is IWC, and I know he's a spokesman for IWC. Yeah, brand ambassador. Yeah, so I guess I'm not surprised, but I'm wondering. Yes, he totally is a Nickelback fan. He totally. Total Nickelback fan. Total Nickelback fan. Oh man, that good call. Good call. Big time, Tom. Oh, anyway, now that I've been blown away with the Nickelback reference, Sanjay, what did you think of the video? I'll come back. I'll regroup.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting video. I was shocked to hear that he was 43 years old. I full disclosure, I had no idea who Tom Brady is until this point. He looks like he's 30, but he's apparently 43. But I did raise an eyebrow when IWC kept coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I own a lot of Grand Seikos, and I'm a Grand Seiko guy, but I still have a bunch of other stuff, right? As a watch guy, right. There'd be different brands coming out of my mouth, but IWC kept coming out, and I kind of looked into it to see what IWC was all about. But yeah, I saw that he's a brand ambassador. I know Bobby Watch Medicine. He knows a lot more about football than I do, but my eyebrows one was way up there.
Yeah.
On IWC,
Yeah,
I
I mean, like you said, I wonder if he has any other watches. I'm sure he was. I think somebody mentioned in the chat that he was a tag ambassador at one point.
okay.
Um, uh, it is what it is. I mean, they played. We asked him a couple questions, and I know you don't know much about American football, but they asked one question about Patek Philippe and what the Nautilus, I think, and
Yeah.
what NFL team, and he picked Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm like, that's the last team. I mean, that's a Pittsburgh Steelers. That's blue collar. That's a blue collar team, man. You know what I mean? Like, Patek, that's like San Francisco 49ers, man. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
Pittsburgh Steelers, that's a tough watch right there, man. That's a watch for the masses, not some Nautilus, Anyway, that's my thought on that.
Yeah.
Um,
What about the Rolex Submariner?
Yeah,
He
I mean, like,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, his what he Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, like, tough, legendary. Yeah, I mean that'll give him more of a pass on.
yeah.
I think that was closer to the mark than Patek and the Steelers. You know. Um,
The Speedmaster is some kind of high tech team, or like a
oh, like an expansion team. It
right?
was just a weird. It was a weird selection. I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I mean, these questions are impossible to answer, right?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Um, Uh, AJ, Tom and Giselle live up to the hype in person. You see them and you're like, okay, they're living a different life, um, but built different. And the crazy thing is, like, she's the big breadwinner in that family, man. She's like supposedly almost a billionaire with all her like endorsements and her clothing line and whatnot. Um,
Okay.
that's a interesting power couple. Thanks, Chris, for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Um, Pittsburgh Steelers would be like Hamilton. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. I could see that. Um, Maybe Brady will design a G-Shock now. Yeah. Okay. Let's see that. Let's see that. I like to see that.
I want to hear what Bobby has to say about it.
Is he? I haven't seen him on the chat. Is he?
I thought I saw him pop up, but yeah, I don't know. He's the football guy, right?
Yeah. That's pretty good, B Dev. You think a football player would be a ball spokesman? That's right. Um, hey JCB, thanks for joining us Monday morning your time. Um, Steelers should be RGM. Okay, so could the Eagles too, right? Are the Lions Invicta or MVMT? Wilson, I think you're from that neck of the woods. I feel you. There's Bobby. Omega Speedmaster being expansion team is a slap to the face. What, Bobby? What team do you think the Speedmaster should be associated with? I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Driving again, huh, JCB? All right. Well, be careful. Hopefully, you're just listening and not watching.
Hmm.
Um, do you think Tom's linemen are frustrated that he's not buying them Rolexes? I'm sure. Is he? Is he not? Is he buying them IWCs? Jets equals Michael Kors. Spot on, oil money. Spot on. It hurts my heart to have posted that, but I cannot tell a lie. Yeah, Wilson. Yeah, it's tough. Tough being a Lions fan these days. Hey, Andres, thanks for joining us. A lot of Steelers haters on chat. Are there?
No.
Houston Astros, the Speedmaster. A little cross-reference from baseball. Is that has something to do with them cheating their way to a World Series? Kansas City Chiefs could be the Speedy. Yeah, that's not bad. I like that. What does Bobby say? Mega Speedmaster should be the Houston, Texas, I guess. NASA, Houston, we have a problem. They certainly have their problems. I like this with the NFL team game. Rich Ross, I think you're a Seahawks fan. What watch would go with the Seahawks? Mahomes got his lineman new 41 subs. Yeah, didn't the one guy that his offensive lineman on who's in
Yeah,
the Heraldry talk, and he mentioned that?
the big guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know his name, but
I forget his name too, but he's a nice
it,
guy. He really is.
yeah, he was
Actually,
real nice.
I should know his name. Um, let's see. Rolexes are too small for linemen. They need big pilots. That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Uh, it's the guys that go all in on the 9F that I personally respect the most. Okay. All right. Tom Brady should wear a tool watch because he's such a tool. Yeah,
He seems
I
like
think
a
I'm.
nice guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I guess. I guess. I'm not a Tom Brady just because I'm not a New England Patriots fan or Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan now.
Does he
Speed
still
has to be the
play?
Ravens. What was that?
Does he still play?
Yeah, he won another Super Bowl last year. Yeah,
Wow.
and he's
How
gonna play
old is
again.
he?
He's in great shape. He does spend a lot of resources making sure that his body is in playing shape. I mean, he's got a whole team of people. He does whatever kind of work that people do, massage or acupuncture, bunch of stuff that they do afterwards, and he trains in a special way, special diet. But a lot of it also, you got to give credit to, I mean, his genetics. I mean, he's definitely not the fastest guy in the world. But I guess he just plays smart, and he's just, has avoided. I mean, he had one year where he got hurt pretty bad, and he tore up something in his leg, but ever since then, he's just, I guess he's good at avoiding hits, and
Yeah, I would assume so, because some of the stuff I've seen of, or out of the very little I've seen about American football, I would think he would get toasted,
yeah, yeah.
total smacked in the
Uh,
birthday.
AJ saying Patek is probably the Pats. Patek is probably the Pats, but Tom will not say that now. Of course not. Cleveland Browns is definitely the Mudmaster. Uh, it's like, by the way, I think they wrote a script for Gravy. Maybe, yeah. Maybe IWC wrote the script for him. Um, Seahawks, you work. Okay, sure. Seahawks would be Seiko. They need divers with all the rain up there. Lived there for 13 years. It does get rainy for sure. Um, let's see here. Let me get with the chat here. We're almost running out of time. Here's your response. Seahawks going for the Speedmaster. I mean, Seamaster Professional 300, or maybe something technical like a U Work or D Bethune. I think those are also watches that Wrist Ross likes. Oh man. Okay. Okay, I got to preview OM Money's question for you, Sanjay. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. Question for Sanjay. When is he going to give one of his very best friends who doesn't have a watch one of those Grand Seikos that he's got going spare in his watch box?
Ah, I that the question. It's a good question. I probably shouldn't I? But
Don't do it, man.
it's yeah, it's hard. I yeah. That's see that this is where you see how selfish I really am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not as nice of a guy as you guys think I am. But if he needed the money, I would sell it and give him the money. Because I don't feel he would appreciate it as much. Maybe when he gets to the level, if he gets to the level where he really appreciates a Grand Seiko, I would. I should.
No. Keep it Grand Seikos. I'm a terrible human being. Well, watch medicine, Bobby. Whenever I see a Milgauss green crystal black dial, a weird dial, I think of this as a Seattle watch for the Seahawks, and more appropriately, the old Supersonics. I miss the old Supersonics. I do. I do. Um, Sanjay, don't fold under questioning. Bobby, absolutely right. Dallas Cowboys should be Hublot for sure. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Kevin, good call with the Seahawks and Milgauss, definitely for sure. Anyway, guys, great episode tonight, Sanjay. What do you got going on, man? You have anything coming up this week that we should be on the lookout for?
Um, nope, not nothing planned. I mean, if I get some free time, I might do a review on my 9F that I recently acquired. But other than that, I had a live stream yesterday, and it was probably my favorite live stream. I had so much fun because one of my best friends from high school came on, and
Yeah,
uh, and I had a blast.
yeah.
So if you guys want to check that out, that was a lot of fun.
I will.
Uh,
I caught some of it, and I promise I'll finish up because it looked like it was a lot of fun. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Other than that, just the usual. I'll be on Instagram at engineer_wannabe, and YouTube engineer wannabe.
Excellent. Thank you so much again, Sanjay.
Yeah.
And I got a couple reviews that I'm working on. Hopefully, I can get them out by the end of the week or by midweek as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you next week for another Watch Soup. We're gonna try to get the rancher in here, Clive, to join us next Sunday for his take and his Clive jokes. Hashtag Clive jokes. All right, guys. Have a good night.
Good night, guys.
See you next week.